What's up, everyone? Welcome back. We are this time at Roebling Road Raceway. This is kind of my home track, so this was a fun one for me. It's a very competitive weekend this weekend with this round 4 of PanAmerican Superbike. So I didn't quite get away with the results that I wanted, but had a ton of fun doing it, and it's always a good time down at Roebling. One of my personal favorite tracks. So we're starting to grid up here. I'll be starting from 7th place here. Not my strongest qualifying, but you know, my previous personal best was in the 17s. That's what my qualifying time was, so I'll take that. I did end up getting a little bit better in 16.2 by the end of the weekend. With that was actually in an earlier race from this, the Grand Courses. This one's the sprint. So I was happy with that. But you know, and got a few other 16s in there as well, so made some progress here. Just didn't put it together to get kind of on the podium where I wanted to for most of these races. Did walk away with the 2nd place in one of the other ones, but you know, had a great time. You'll notice here my new zero gravity windscreen. Love that. New sponsor, so happy to have that. Way better than stock. Really getting tuck here. You see I get caught a little bit on the outside here. This guy, he's kind of chasing down his wheelie a little bit, and a bunch of people pass me on the inside, and it's kind of tough for me to get back over there. And so I don't get to, I lose a bunch of spots there, which was a little bit of a bummer. In general, turn 1 here, and the next one, this one's turn 2 really, but going into turn 1, I'm also going into turn 3 right here. I felt like I carried a bit more entry speed and maybe some mid-corner speed than some of the other people I was racing. So that was a kind of both a positive thing. Love to hear going faster in some section of the track, but also ended up being a little bit difficult to get around some people there. And we'll watch at kind of the last lap of this race how that ends up working out for me. It's certainly exciting, if nothing else. Weather this weekend, super hot. We were in the 90s, mid-90s, or even mid-upper 90s, I think, on Saturday for practice qualifying. Today, Sunday for the races was low, mid-90s, and so on track, you know, probably over 100 out there. Really tough. Fatigue is definitely setting in, especially in these afternoon races for the sprints. Lots of cramping all day. It started out not doing great with some of my nutrition and hydration, but we were able to get some of that back. I'm certainly not sponsored by these guys, but I swear by Tailwind, which is kind of like an endurance mixed drink stuff. If you've never heard of it, I used to do it back when I was doing some ultra marathon training and stuff, and I swear by that stuff. It's so good. So check it out if you haven't, but again, not really sponsored by that. It's kind of expensive, so. Track conditions, again, just hot. I mean, we didn't have rain or anything, so like we had a good amount of rubber down on the track. Other than that, it's just a toasty weekend for us. Tires for this one, actually earlier for the Grand Courses, I ended up running SC1s on both the front and the rear. For the sprints, I kind of burned through the rear on that and just went back to an SC2 that I had kind of left over. Probably not the best idea, but whatever, trying to save a little bit of money there. You see me get past there, just, Axel, that was, which was great, glad to get by, but we'll see here. I kind of, I can't get around him, and here I get caught up a little bit. I outbrake him, but I can't really tip in because I know he's right there. And then I was carrying too much speed into the back of the other guy, and I just kind of had to pull out of it. I didn't want to like ruin anything early on in the race, and certainly didn't want to hit anyone else. But again, you'll see where I was carrying a lot of entry speed into there. Here I try to carry a little bit entry speed into 3, and I was a little far back to make this one stick. He holds me off pretty well there into 4. So, you know, we'll remember that for the next lap, right? Like, we want to see, let's kind of poke around a little bit, see where we can get a little bit quicker, and then remember that for the next lap and see if we can take advantage of that. So that was we're trying to do. Again, like, but we'll notice, like, the drive out of here, they're just kind of taking off on me. But then, you know, right here, the next one, I gained a little bit back there, but then only to get kind of left there. And I don't know, maybe I'm not getting on the gas soon enough, but I, like, struggling a little bit with rear grip, and just, like, you know, even once we're out here, like, they're taking off. So that's going to be tough for me. But I do catch back up into turn 1, so that's good, right? Got to take what we can. In terms of kind of suspension stuff, you know, the valving at Roebling, you're leaned over, as you see, pretty much the entire time except for that front straight. So we're gonna leave the valving pretty open, because the suspensions, if you think about like how a bump works in your suspension, you know, you go over a bump, it's gonna move a certain amount based on how big that bump is. When you're leaned over, now it has to travel further to move the same amount of vertical difference. So we're gonna have to open up the valving a little bit. I did have a friend tell me afterwards that he in particular likes to kind of soften up the front a bit more even, and then also make the rear a little bit stiffer to help it turn around. I ended up actually having to, throughout the weekend, soften up the rear a little bit, certainly pull out the rebound and the compression a little bit, although mostly rebound out a little bit. And then I ended up actually even taking some preload out. I think it was only like a turn, but I was having trouble with some of the rear grip, and I was trying to get the bike to squat a little bit more, be a little bit more compliant there. Here we go. Remember I said entry speed I was doing good at, so I got to pass him basically on the entry. I wasn't going to get him on the exit because he's beating me everywhere there, so I got to kind of line that one up and make quick work of it on the entry. The previous time I really wasn't in front of him, so I couldn't really make it stick there. Gearing with the CBR, I'm gonna end up using what I'm gonna call the Bobby Special. Bobby Levitt told me this one, and it seemed to work out pretty well when I was working with him here before, and that's gonna be a 1541. You'll notice at the end of the straight, I'm pretty close to topped out. I could probably drop a tooth or two in the rear, or add a tooth or two in the rear and try to get a little bit more drive or a little bit more top end, but I like the roll speed and the simplicity that it makes. So here we go. That was the white flag, last lap. He passes me again on the straight. I can't quite get back, but remember, turn 3, so let's try to set it up a little bit, get good drive out of 2. We're gonna do the same thing. All right, so entry speed, we got him there. Let's keep rolling. How close are these guys? Can we get them both? Not quite. We can't get both of them, but we do get one of them. That's cool. All right, where else can we pass? I really don't like passing in this back section. Sometimes around this turn, but that's a little easier on track days than it is on racing. I try to get some good grip entry, and I got to stab on the brakes there. I did not want to hit the back of him. Lost a little bit of the front there. He goes around, but he was able to get around and not actually hit me. Again, entry here, go a little bit wide, trying to go on the outside, and I can't get him. It's a drag race to the end here, and there goes one spot, and and he got me right at the end there. I think that one was like less than a tenth of a second. That Axel got me, you know, obviously lost the other one, so I went from, that would have been a podium right there, back down to 3rd place. I mean, back down to 5th place. So that was a bummer. That happened to me in another race as well. I only lost one in the other one, but whatever. It was a good time out there. Fun sprint race, lots of passing, exciting. Definitely had some people who we could fight with, and you know, have a good time down at Roebling. next round is at Barber, which should be fun because I've never actually been there, so that's going to be a really fun one.